Welcome, everyone. My name is Ali Amin, and I'm going to be talking about the evolution of UI UX design. We're going to be exploring the latest trends and the impact of AI. So first, let me talk about who am I. I'm originally from Pakistan. I'm currently doing my master's thesis in University of Paderborn here in Germany. Oh, just post this, yeah. I am working as a UI UX designer here at Stackstream, where I'm helping them build AI-driven products. And formerly, I was working as a freelance website designer at Upwork and Fiverr, and I've also helped a bunch of companies on contract basis. So first, let me get everyone up to speed about what UI, UX, or CX is, and I'm going to explain it in very simple terms. So UI is user interface, and it describes how a product looks and feels like. To give an example, think about a car, and inside a car, you have the car dashboard, and it has some buttons, and those buttons have some functions. So that would be the UI. The UX would be the user experience on how the car would actually feel like. So to give an example, it would be the smooth drive of a car would be the UX, the user experience of it. The CX, or customer experience, is everything as a whole, which means that it takes in everything from the start to the end. What do I mean from the start to the end? Is basically, if you wanted to buy a car, you would go to the car dealership, you would look at it, you would do a test drive, and then you would maybe buy it. And everything that happens afterwards, the post-purchase, is all included in the customer experience. So let me talk about the evolution of UI UX. And it all started in 1990 when the World Wide Web was launched. And when it was launched, it was just an HTML structured website with just text. Then up to the time of the year 2000, people started building websites. And at the time, it was just website relics that they would call it because they were very old and classy. And let me just give you an example of how Apple looked like back in the year 2000. So this is how the website of Apple looked like, which is just text and images at the time. Not that pretty, right? OK. So, and then came Web 2.0, which introduced CSS, and which was basically cascading style sheets. And this allowed people to make better websites, more beautiful websites. And then in the year 2005 came the term user experience, and it started getting more traction. People realized that we should be building our applications or websites that are more user-driven and have a better user experience. The most drastic change came in the year 2007 when the first iPhone was launched and mobile UX came along. There were app stores launched with applications, and us designers realized that, OK, we now need to design for mobile devices as well. And then in the year 2010, the UI UX matured a lot, and website responsiveness, mobile responsiveness, animation, and design times came along. Another big shift came when augmented reality or virtual reality came along, and Oculus or HoloLens was introduced. So yet there was another task that we had to use to build our applications along those lines. And now there is yet another big breakthrough that we have, which is the AI breakthrough. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So let me tell you a story from back in 2019. I was gaming with my friends in 2019, and one of my friends who was living in this other country, and I was talking to him from a headset, and he knew who I was and what I was doing. And he told me that, hey, Ali, do you know that there is this app coming out, and it allows you to build your whole website with just one line of code? And this was back in 2018, 2019. And I said that that's not even possible. I know AI is smart, but it's not smart enough to build a whole website with just one line of code, right? Well, to my surprise, just a couple of years later, we now have an abundance of these apps, let's say ChatGPT, Midjourney, Framer AI. And to give you an example of how that works is, let me show you an example of a website that I could use over here. So this is relume.io. And if I wanted to create a website, I would just click on New Project here. Let me here say, Um, let me generate. Okay, so imagine I would say Code Talks website for developer, right? And I would generate this, and it's generating me the prototypes or wireframes for different websites. It's also going to generate me some content and some feature sections that you have so quickly. And if you want to see how it looks, you could go inside the wireframe, and you can see the website just building in front of you as we speak. So pretty cool stuff. And not only that, you can even have images, text changes, and a bunch of stuff. And this is only one app of many that can do this. Okay, so the question now becomes, or the biggest misconception that people have is AI is our foe. And it's going to take over the world, surely, because if you watch Terminator, there's Skynet, and people think that's going to take over the world. But that's not the case, at least not yet. AI is not the future of technology, it's the technology of today that's shaping our future. And the way I see it is that AI is a friend. And we designers should use it as a tandem partner. And designers can greatly benefit it by analyzing user data. We can create user personas, automating design workflows, adding design elements, and also empowering our creativity. Now, let me just give you an example of how this could work for like analyzing user data. So we UI UX designers, we have to do a lot of testing, right? And we also have to do a lot of research. And it could also happen that we want to do some A and B testing for our apps or websites, and we have an immense amount of data from the users. Now, to speed up our process, we could feed that data into an AI app that could give us, that can analyze the data and give us suggestions. Now, that analysis would be much better from the AI than if we do it on our own. And this last point about creativity is very important because AI doesn't really replace our creativity, it empowers it. And the reason why I say is that AI is not yet able to create exactly what we want, but it can generate ideas for us that can help us drive our creativity. So the question now is, or the question most of UI UX designers ask is that, will AI ever replace us? And I guess this question doesn't really stick to just designers, but it also has its place in different areas like developers as well. But since I'm talking about the design here, we designers, when we are building products, we have human-centered design, which means that we put human in the center and all of the design revolves around it. And we have to do a lot of research about a certain target audience. And each target audience is different for different parts of the product. And we have to empathize with those users and have to be and empathize them at a certain level. Not only that, we also have to collaborate and communicate with the different stakeholders of the product, which could be developers, which could be product owners, CEOs, and also the users as well. And it could just so happen that every now and then there is a requirement change that we just have to adjust to, and then we go through the whole research process again. Also, ethical considerations and creativity is a big point that we UI UX designers have in terms of AI. We have to consider ethics and also have our own creativity because this is something that AI has not been able to do yet. So AI is the new UI. So I'm just going to talk about some of the tools that UI UX designers are using nowadays. So ChatGPT. ChatGPT, you might all know right now, is your personal coach. And how you can benefit from it as a UI UX designer is that if you're starting a new project, you can tell it about what the project is, what do you want to get out of it, and how do you want the AI to be used as a personal coach. Once all of the data is put in, you can then start asking questions, and it would give you ideas or creative ideas that you haven't even thought about yet. Framer AI is a code zero website builder that also allows you to build websites quickly with just one line of text. UI-Zerd is also a visual prototyper, which is very similar to Framer AI, but the only difference is that it makes high-level prototypes of wireframes and prototypes. Genius UI is like a side buddy that's working with you on a UI UX project, and you can help it streamline your processes. And it can help you generate wireframes and also prototypes, plus design elements like images, buttons, and functionalities. Stable Fusion is something that you might also be aware of. It's came out early on with Midjourney, and it can help you generate stock images, unique stock images, by just prompt text. One of my favorite is Sketch to Code, which is by Microsoft. If you have sketches of your wireframes, you can just input those sketches, and then you can have those whole sketches turn out to be a full app. And Dora AI, which is in beta testing right now, actually, is and also a really good app. Whereas Framer AI helps you create websites that are static, Dora AI it takes it to the next level. And this also happens with just line of text. And what happens is that if you want to add animations to the website to different sections of it, you can just click on a section, add a certain type of animation you want, and you can just add the animation with the text, and it's going to animate the whole website with it. So it's not all rainbows and sunshines when it comes to AI, is it? Because AI also has its cons in its design. First is the biasness. Because AI is trained on user data, it just could happen that when we are trying to get out some information from the AI about a certain product, and that product has a really diverse or culturally diverse group of data in it, it is possible that the AI doesn't give you accurate data because it's not trained on that data set. There are many privacy issues when it comes to AI because it is being trained on our own personal data. And nowadays, security and privacy is a big concern. Dependencies leading to negative UX. It is also common now, or becoming common, that designers are using these AI apps too much. And which could happen that is because they are trained on these biased data sets, and if we rely too much on these data, on the outcome of this AI, it could happen that the particular outcome that we get from the AI is not suited for our particular audience that we're going to be building the product for, which would lead to negative UX or negative user experience. And lastly, it's a place for humans. We build our products around humans, and we have to do research for it. We have to empathize with them. And this is something that the AI is also not able to do. So what is the future trends with AI and UX? And this is something that from my own side. We will have an increased use of machine learning. And if that happens, that means that AI is going to be able to think more quickly and on larger data sets, which could mean that it could also accomplish the diverse data set that I was talking about. There is going to be a rise of chatbots and virtual assistants. And this is something already you might have seen on different websites, right? But the way I see it is that it's going to be used so much that we won't be needing to interact with websites or applications with our hands or click on them. We can just do so with our gestures of fingers. And if you've seen the Apple's launch the day before yesterday, they introduced Apple Watch. And one of the features of Apple Watch is the tap gesture, in which you can use your watch without ever touching it. And how that happens is that if you have a snooze button or you're in a call but your other hand is dirty, and you can control the app by just a tap. So already these things are coming in. And there would be a greater focus on ethics and transparency. Like I said in the cons, that AI has a privacy issue, and I feel like there's going to be a more upbringing for the ethics and transparency in AI apps. And of course, new AI-powered technologies are going to come in because the pace at which AI is evolving, it is very certain that there's going to be new capabilities that AI is going to be able to do. So to conclude my my presentation, AI is here to stay. AI is a big thing. Even though it has some cons, it is here to stay. And we designers would need to adapt to certain changes. As we have adapted to certain changes throughout the evolution of UI UX, this is also not different. And we just need to adapt and make use of this power. AI is not perfect yet. What I mean by that is that even though I told you that it's not created enough or give us outcomes that are not accurate, it could be in time that it does become accurate. And it's just a matter of time of when it becomes. And lastly is that we should definitely make use of AI. And I'm not saying just for designers, but also for any other field, which you guys are also making of. And you might be surprised that, or what might not be surprised, but everything that I just said and these slides were also guided and generated through the help of AI. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can let me know.